art of healing one's dues. As we approach vernal equinox upon this here northern hemisphere, energies start to clutch, shift, and throttle from the low gear of winter's slowness into the revved up RPMs of early spring, when the light of day and dark of night march ever faster towards veritable equality once again, as always happens as our venerable sun crosses the great circle circumscribing the celestial sphere that is of Earth's equator. Indeed, 'tis a final warning bell before class resumes once again, as ever again, marking time and opportunity to bask in the residual serenity of last lunar bi-week's recess, appropriately speaking, since the current associated stave Berkana brings and has to do with an energetic sensation of pause or simmering stillness, so to suspensefully speak, just in time before having to get busy as beavers and bees as we approach the growing season imminently ahead. And though we are asked and tasked to take action and be personally engaged over the course of Tyr's calendarized stave, according to the Elder Firthwark from 227 to 314 previously spoken of, where one found self amidst unforeseen circumstances or situations challenging you to make abrupt and or otherwise dire and necessary sea changes. Consider this. Oh, what a stormy start to the year it was, and yet how ebulliently it ended or wound down in comparison. Whereas, as far as Imbolc, or the cross quarter between winter's solstice and Vern's equinox was concerned back then, which announced the prelude to light's return, in relation to this here Viking Sabbat, known as Ostara, said and given life has now indeed officially arrived. While Tyr was and is indicative of aggravated or stressful changes in plans mid-stride or stream, this here lunar bi-week or half-month from 314 to 330 is about soothing and loosening the restraints and resultant and or subsequent road rashes or monkey wrenches thrown at thee accordingly, as aptly represented by this stave, Berkana. And the significance of crossing between or transitioning these two sets of three such comprising the year is akin to walking into the midst of a battlefield, game, or melee already in play. However telling and typical this may be and or sound, above as so below, 'tis, or there is, nevertheless, an appropriately timed or called for reason to pause, the rationalization being in order to leave or join a team, fight, and or cause, as in a timeout, to strategize, choose sides, debate, parlay, or make trades and amends. At least that's how the Vikings took and saw this period. See? Alas, the comforting caveat coming only after and one actually accepts given transition as is, fair and square. The lesson or practice being grappling and coming to grips with loss, first and foremostly, the operative words being passive action. Before those tried and true strides taken can give one feeling of calm and ease. Otherwise, there's bound to be and sure to be discord or friction, if not some shape, fashion, or form of demise. At least for the tentative time being. Meanwhile, just remain true to thyself, and you can't go wrong. But be mindful and wary, nevertheless, for Berkana's arrival at the curtain call and end of winter's last act and scene is no accident, nor by coincidental happenstance, for it represents the stave of physical and spiritual doulas, from midwifery to psychopomps, in that it has seen, oversees, and sees much, if not a significant portion of one's gestation, incubation, or coming to fruition, in which naturally occurring case maintaining a hands-off approach of emotional detachment at all costs, on par with the acumen and sensitivity it takes to allow, come what may, to take on a shape, course, and life force of its own organic accord. 'Tis the metaphorical period before birth analogy. And yet, Although it offers the necessary balm and ointment required for proper recovery from the treatment of recent bruises and are the so-called stretch marks of living sustained from the last lunar bi-week or half-month period, refer back to March 1st's post. Suffice to Hippocratically say, it's akin to resting after a wrestling match, mending mental and spiritual wounds to bed sores before stepping back into the ring. Hence, this and that, therefore. So expect contractions next, for the sake of which one should give and or take a break now, to bless, honor, and allow things presently to take their natural shape and form, without worry nor need to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn for any reason. Indeed, 'tis certainly not the time to coerce, force, or press anything at all, especially now. This is a so-called pre-op ward, waiting room, holding area, or placeholder for us to fortify or shore up before casting off, molting, or bursting into change like a phoenix of yore kind of thing, when one can safely give self the accolades and props deserved for a and or the job so far done well, or successfully brought to an end, or closure for sure. And according to the means and ways of how the Vikings read and saw these recurring signals, signs, and symbols, 'twas and is when, in dearly beloved Mother Nature's curriculum, one and all are tasked with beholding and abiding in the creative space of boredom. In another's words, a restful frame of state of mind is suggested at this time, for time being, recognizing or acknowledging that which one hath accomplished, endured, and worked for, a sort of self-imposed detention or time out, forcing one to embrace a and or the most creative moment available, that of course always being filled with the most undiluted potential. And as far and as wide as a fair heads-up forewarning, preamble, or cheat sheet goes, to discourage or avoid fraying thy tapestry presently, according to the cyclical pattern experienced upon this hemisphere every year at this point in time, what's also urged currently is to decline, or at least resist, rushing or venturing into any new projects or forays just yet, because there's still some more accounting which needs to be done before balancing the books, leveling the playing field, or tearing the scales can be brought to bear and overcome as prerequisitely required, for come what may. We're in the dues one pays or is paying for now, as in the personal cost and extent of the soul-searching spent for same, amounts to precisely what one needs most right here and now, in order to preview or be prepared for the very next initiation, rite of passage, or birthing of that which one hath conceived. To put it mind over matter-of-factly, in other tender and tethered words, Ostara ye later.